Some important dates. For those of you who vote by mail, the mail-in ballots will start getting shipped out by the county clerk on September 21st of this year. On October 15th, in New Jersey, that's the deadline to register to vote, if you're not already registered in Atlantic County. And the offices of the Superintendent of Election are open until 9 p.m. that evening. So you can visit the county office building. We're on the 4th floor until 9 p.m. that evening, or you can come out to the county seat in Mays Landing and register to vote. But the simplest way to do that, if you are not already registered, and I give this to everybody, so you might want to write it down, because it's a great website. It's vote.nj.gov. Again, that's vote.nj.gov. That's the State Division of Elections website. You could find so much information there on elections. You could probably compete with my memory over the last 20 years insofar as election law, deadlines, what elections are coming up, what the chronological calendar is, so you're sure that you're enfranchised for the next election. So hold on, and you can also register to vote online, right? You can also register to vote when you go to motor vehicles. We are an opt-out state now, which means unless you indicate that you don't want to be registered to vote, the information you give when you update your driver's license or registration will be forwarded to our offices for change of address purposes, or perhaps you got married, divorced, name changed, moved within the county. We get that information relatively quickly, and we use that to make sure your record is as current as it can be. Same goes for the online voter registration. So if you find that you can't get to our offices, or somebody is stuck at home for some reason, ill, what have you, as long as you have a smartphone, you can get that person registered to vote all the way up until the deadline. It reaches us within seconds of having done that. So we're big proponents for that. We have just over 200,000 registered voters in Atlantic County. That number is slightly inflated, and when I say that, that's in all likelihood, because what folks don't seem to appreciate always is the fact that when you receive official election mail to your home, and when I say official, not flyers for campaigns and things like that, when you get your sample ballot at home or your mail-in ballot at home, if you receive one for somebody who no longer lives there because they've moved out and you've moved in, most people take that and toss it in the trash. With 200,000 people, more than that actually, just over, on our rolls, I can't possibly be friends with every single one of you. Know where you're currently living. Know that you're not fighting with your spouse and moved out for a few months, right? So when it's tossed in the trash, we don't get it back. You remain live at that address, right? So if you take one thing away from today, simply write on that election mail, no longer at this address. Put it back in the mailbox, and the Postal Service by law is required to return that to us. When we receive it, we can use that to update somebody's voter record. Doesn't mean they're going to be disenfranchised, doesn't mean they're going to be blocked from voting, but it's going to flag us that they may have moved. We investigate that. Their status may go to inactive. So when they do show up to vote, hopefully where they currently live, right? But if they happen to show up where they used to live, we're going to have them update their voter address for us. And they're either going to proceed to the machine to vote a regular ballot, or they're going to vote a provisional ballot if they don't want to go to the polling site they belong at now, right? So that's really, really critical. Folks move out of state and don't tell the commissioner of registration. So because New Jersey doesn't participate with every single state across the country, in fact, no state does, we can't possibly know who's moved down to Florida and retired, and things like that. They're in the process of joining New Jersey is rather this, it's called ERIC, which will tie us in with other states so we can share that data. But it's not like Social Security, where the government knows, the voter rolls know exactly where everybody lives at all times nationwide, right? So that would really, really help us if you happen to see mail for somebody that no longer lives at your address or at your neighbor's address, or if your children have grown up and moved away. For those of you who have children in college, they're one of the main groups who can choose where to vote. Even though New Jersey may be their actual street home residence with their parents, the state allows you the opportunity to choose to vote at home, or I'm a college student. I'm living in Pennsylvania. I want to vote in Pennsylvania. I happen to be a little bit more in tune politically to what's going on around my campus, and I want to have a say in those elections. Right? So that's something else that can happen there. Okay, it was registration deadline October 15th. Sample ballots will go out September 23rd. Early voting opens in 7 locations. For a general election, you're going to be able to vote 10 days in advance of the actual election for 9 of those days, because we close down on the Monday, the day before the election, just to get everything together, give election officials a chance to breathe, and make sure all of that information is turned over. You can vote in 7 locations in this county on a machine. For those of you who may not remember, in the last presidential election in 2020, most of us, other than those who had ADA challenges, had to vote by mail, right? So we haven't seen an in-person presidential election for the masses since 2016, okay? And if Kaleem and your esteemed board is successful in getting everybody inspired to get out and vote, for those of you who voted in 2016, you may recall presidentials are the highest turnout. We tend to have lines, right? And we didn't have brand new technology for all of those folks turning out. And we didn't have electronic poll books. So we are anticipating that there can be delays. So if you're not voting by mail, let me encourage you, and please sing it to everybody you know. Please use early voting. It's safe, it's secure. If you don't normally vote in the smaller elections, you're going to have more time with the technology, and there are more poll workers there to assist you, so you're not intimidated. If there's a language barrier, if you're visually impaired, there are things on these machines that can really assist you. Okay? The deadline to apply for a vote by mail this year is October 29th. And if you miss that, you're going to have to come out in person to the county clerk's offices and apply by November 4th. In-person deadline would be November 4th. Finally, last thing I wanted to tell you, and if you don't mind, that way I can stop talking at people, I'll take some questions.
Did you tell me when early voting starts?
Yes, I did. That is Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd. Pardon me if I didn't give that date, those dates already. That's the 9 days. Elections have really changed dramatically. If you're an election official, and I don't know how much the voting public knows, how many opportunities you have to vote now, and how many ways we will chase you down and find you if you happen to send in your ballot and you forgot to sign it, or you left something off of that. There are now ballot cures. So the information you have on file, you know, with your phone number or your email address, try to check it if you walk out of the polling site, or you walk away rather from the ballot drop boxes, which are all throughout the county, and you go, oh my God, I don't think I signed my ballot. Okay? Number one, if that happens, get a hold of us. But if you do forget, you may be contacted to cure that ballot. Get it in right away. Get your cure in, offer your signature, so that your vote indeed counts. We chase you down for about a week, a little longer after the election, as long as your mail-in ballot, if put in the U.S. Postal Service mailbox is postmarked by Election Day. So you can't vote the day after the election. But if you screwed it up somehow, putting it in the mailbox and you forgot something important on your certification, we do try to find you desperately because we want your vote to count. We also have opportunities for helpers. 2 years ago, the Office of the Superintendent of Elections branched out. We were exhausted. Charles Goodman knows because he came out and helped us a few years back, and it's quite a long day for us. So we had the bright idea to bring in some high school and college students to kind of give a breath of fresh air to our very tired teams around 6 o'clock at night on election day, because there's nothing better than a bunch of young folks to help lift the suitcases. If you've been a poll worker, you know they're going to help you get them out of your trunk and bring them in and things like that. So we're always looking for additional help.
How old you got to be?
We have hired as young as 17 and up to assist us. A lot of the high schools will offer additional credit to a student if they help out. We can't talk with all of them, but we'll certainly make a case to get them, you know, if they're at an A, maybe they'll get an A+. And we're working to confirm that Governor Murphy will again be offering 1 college credit to college students who assist us in that respect. I can assure you that of all the teens we have had come out and help us, including Mr. Goodman, they really do leave our offices and the warehouse going, oh my gosh, I had no idea what you all do and how hard you work in teams to make sure nobody can cheat and to make